right, buckle up, everybody, because we're taking a deep dive into this Bitcoin prediction that's got everyone talking.
Oh, yeah, you know the one?
$200,000
Whoa.
per Bitcoin by the end of 2025.
Per Bitcoin by the end of 2025.
And this is coming straight from Anthony Scaramucci,
Oh, wow. Mr. Skybridge Capital himself.
founder of Skybridge Capital. Exactly.
So 200,000, that's a big jump from, where it's at right now. What makes him so confident?
Well, he's not just some random guy making predictions.
Oh, right.
I mean, he's got skin in the game.
Yeah.
You remember that little stint he had on the White House?
Oh, yeah. Maybe not some short stint for his portfolio?
Exactly right. And his firm, Skybridge Capital, they've got this crypto ETF that's actually up, get this, 150% over the last year.
Wow.
So he was in a recent interview laying out his reasoning, and it really boils down to three major trends that he's seeing.
Okay, I'm listening.
First, you've got the potential for a U.S. crypto reserve.
Okay.
Then you've got this increasing global adoption of Bitcoin that we're seeing all over the place.
Yeah.
And then this growing institutional interest.
Interesting.
So let's start with that first one, this idea of a U.S. crypto reserve.
Okay, so is that a real possibility?
It's gaining some serious traction. You've got David Sachs,
Oh, yeah.
huge name in the tech investing world, been pushing this initiative.
Yeah.
And Scaramucci seems pretty optimistic about its chances.
Interesting.
Although he does say it might not be on the scale that some of the Bitcoin enthusiasts are hoping for.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, those diehards.
I know those guys.
But here's what I find fascinating about this whole thing.
What's that?
This isn't really a partisan issue.
Oh, really?
You've got people on both sides of the aisle seeing the potential strategic value of holding Bitcoin.
Yeah.
So it really makes you think, what would the implications be if the U.S. actually went ahead and adopted Bitcoin as a reserve asset?
I mean, wow, that would be huge. Think about the signal it would send to the rest of the world, right?
Exactly
I mean,
right.
the U.S. dollar, it's been the dominant global reserve currency for decades.
Yeah.
If the U.S. starts diversifying into Bitcoin, could that trigger a domino effect?
Right.
Other countries feeling pressured to follow suit?
It's a fascinating thought.
It is.
And Scaramucci seems to think that's exactly what would happen.
Interesting.
He says he's already observing this global trend toward Bitcoin adoption.
Yeah.
And he believes a move by the U.S. would just accelerate things even further.
So could we be on the verge of a major shift in the global financial order?
That's the question, isn't it?
It is.
And if so, what role will Bitcoin play in all of this?
Yeah, that's the big question.
To understand that we've got to look at Bitcoin in relation to those traditional assets,
Right.
particularly gold.
Yeah.
Scaramucci believes that Bitcoin would need a market cap of $15 to $20 trillion to really rival gold.
That's a huge jump from where it is now.
It is.
But why does he think it could get there?
Well, he argues that Bitcoin has this unique advantage,
Okay.
digital scarcity.
Right.
It's got that fixed supply of 21 million coins. Can't be inflated like traditional currencies.
Right.
You can't even mine it at an accelerated rate like you can with gold.
That's interesting.
So that makes it potentially a much more reliable store of value over the long run.
And you can't ignore the changing demographics either.
That's a good point.
You got those younger investors.
Right.
Way more comfortable with digital assets.
Yeah.
They seem to view Bitcoin as a sort of digital gold.
Right.
Like it's a hedge against inflation and all this economic uncertainty.
Yeah, it's a generational shift
It is.
in how people think about wealth and investment.
Right. The older generation clinging to their gold.
Yeah.
The younger generation betting on Bitcoin.
It's fascinating to watch unfold.
It is.
But here's the thing. Scaramucci isn't just bullish on Bitcoin.
Oh, really?
He's also a huge fan of Solana.
Oh, interesting.
In fact, Skybridge Capital has a 9-figure position in Solana.
9 figure. That's a lot of figures.
That's a lot of conviction.
Yeah.
And what's interesting about Solana,
What's up?
it's not just about holding value.
Right.
It's a platform for building decentralized applications.
Oh, yeah, those dApps we've talked about before.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And Solana is known for its scalability and speed.
Yeah.
Which is essential for handling a large volume of transactions.
Right.
But he also sees potential in platforms like Avalanche and Polkadot, particularly for asset tokenization.
Oh, this is where things get really interesting.
Right.
Especially for anyone looking beyond just cryptocurrency.
Yeah.
Imagine a world where real-world assets,
Oh, wow.
like real estate or artwork, are represented as digital tokens on a blockchain.
Yeah.
These platforms, they aim to make that possible.
So it's like taking that idea of digital scarcity that we see with Bitcoin and applying it to a much wider range of assets.
Yeah,
It could revolutionize how we think about ownership.
it really could.
But Scaramucci's vision goes even beyond individual cryptocurrencies.
Oh, wow. So where does it go?
He sees the current landscape in crypto and AI as being very similar to the early internet boom of the late 1990s.
The dot-com boom.
Exactly.
Wow.
So he's suggesting that we're at the start of a similar period of explosive growth and possibly a bubble.
Yeah, just like back then, right? Not every project's going to be a winner.
Right. But the potential for massive disruption and transformation.
Yeah, that's undeniable.
Absolutely. And for those investors who might be a little hesitant to jump directly into the volatility of cryptocurrencies,
Yeah.
Scaramucci points to Skybridge's crypto ETF
Okay.
as a more, approachable way to gain exposure.
Right. So instead of buying Bitcoin directly,
Yeah.
you're investing in companies that are part of the Bitcoin ecosystem, like
Exactly.
those mining companies or companies like MicroStrategy that have Bitcoin on their balance sheets.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And as we mentioned before, that ETF has seen a 150% return in the past year.
Wow.
It's currently trading around $25 with a price target of $35 to $36.
So it's a testament to the fact that there are multiple ways to participate in this emerging market.
For sure.
And remember, this ETF, it's actively managed by Skybridge,
Right.
meaning they're constantly adjusting their holdings based on their analysis of the market.
Yeah, this isn't just some passive index fund.
Right.
They're making strategic bets on which companies they think will benefit most from the growth of that Bitcoin ecosystem.
That's interesting. But before we get ahead of ourselves,
Sure.
I think this feels like a good spot to maybe take a pause and pick back up in part 2.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah, we'll dive into some of those other predictions and really try to unpack what a world with Bitcoin at $200,000 would even look like.
Stay tuned, folks.
Lots more to come.
We'll be right back after the break.
Before we get too deep into all this, it's important to remember that any investment in crypto,
Oh, absolutely.
whether it's directly buying Bitcoin or investing in an ETF,
Right.
it carries inherent risks.
Yeah, we're not offering financial advice here, folks.
Right.
But it's clear that Scaramucci's putting his money where his mouth is.
Yeah.
His predictions and his own investments paint a pretty optimistic picture for the future of crypto.
So let's get back to that eye-catching prediction.
Okay.
Bitcoin at 200,000 by the end of the year.
200,000.
To put that into perspective,
Yeah.
that would mean Bitcoin would have to more than double in value from where it's trading right now.
More than double.
And even at 200,000,
Right.
Bitcoin's market cap would only be around 4 trillion.
Right.
Still a far cry from that 15 to 20 trillion that Scaramucci believes is possible in the long run.
Right. He's thinking long term.
He is.
So what's he basing that long-term prediction on?
Well, a few key factors.
No, listening.
First, you got the possibility of the U.S. creating a strategic crypto reserve,
Right.
even if it's small.
Yeah.
The impact of the U.S. government giving Bitcoin that legitimacy
Huge.
could be huge.
Yeah.
It could encourage other countries and institutions to take Bitcoin more seriously,
Right.
maybe even leading them to add it to their own reserve.
Okay, so that's the first factor. What's the second?
Second, you got the growing awareness of Bitcoin's digital scarcity.
Right. That fixed supply.
Exactly, as more people understand that concept.
Yeah.
A fixed supply in a world where everything else seems to be increasing,
Right.
Bitcoin's appeal as a store of value
Yeah.
could grow even stronger.
And it goes back to basic economics, right?
It does.
When supply is limited
Yeah.
and demand increases, price tends to go up.
Exactly.
And then you've got that third factor,
Right, that generational shift in investment preferences we talked about earlier.
the younger investors turning to crypto.
Yeah, and Bitcoin is at the forefront of that trend.
Okay, so putting it all together,
Yeah.
is this the year that Bitcoin finally breaks into the mainstream? I mean, if Scaramucci is right
Yeah.
and Bitcoin hits 200,000,
Yeah.
it would be a seismic event.
It would be hard to even overstate the impact of a price increase like that.
Right.
So what would a world with Bitcoin at 200,000 even look like?
Yeah, I mean, what unforeseen consequences might come along with a shift that big? Would it lead to just a flood of new investors entering the market?
Possibly, how would governments and central banks react?
Right. Would it spark even further innovation in the crypto space?
Or could it lead to instability and new risks that we haven't even considered yet?
So many questions.
Yeah, and we can only speculate for now.
Right.
But one thing is certain.
What's that?
The world of finance is changing rapidly.
Yeah, no doubt about that.
And this convergence of
Yeah.
crypto, AI, and all these other emerging technologies,
Right.
it's creating opportunities and challenges that are unlike anything we've seen before.
It's exciting.
It is.
And just like those early days of the internet,
Right.
it's an exciting time to be paying attention.
Yeah, this is a story that's still being written.
For sure.
We're just beginning to see its full potential.
You know, it's amazing to think about how much the perception of Bitcoin has changed over the years.
Oh, it really is.
Remember when it was seen as this shady technology?
Right, like something only used on the dark web.
Exactly. And now you've got policymakers and major financial institutions talking about it
So
seriously.
it's come a long way.
It really has. And you've got major companies like Tesla adding Bitcoin to their balance sheets.
Yeah, even traditional banks starting to offer crypto services to their clients.
This shift in perception is really a testament to Bitcoin's resilience.
Think about all the challenges it's faced.
Oh, I know.
Regulatory crackdowns, exchange hacks.
Massive price swings.
Yet it's still here.
And seems to be getting stronger.
It's like a digital phoenix rising from the ashes.
Right. Every time somebody predicts its demise, Bitcoin just comes back stronger.
So back to Scaramucci's prediction. 200,000 by the end of the year. Is it really possible?
Well, there are no guarantees when it comes to investing.
Especially with something as volatile as Bitcoin.
Exactly.
But the factors driving Scaramucci's optimism are worth paying attention to.
Absolutely. He sees this convergence of trends,
A potential U.S. crypto reserve,
growing global adoption.
increasing institutional interest.
It could create the perfect storm for a major price surge.
And if even a couple of these trends accelerate more quickly than expected,
Yeah,
200,000 might not seem so outlandish after all.
it's a lot to think about.
It is, but here's the key takeaway.
Okay,
Even if Bitcoin doesn't hit that exact price target this year,
right.
it's clear that crypto is here to stay.
I think we can all agree on that.
It's disrupting traditional finance. It's challenging our assumptions about money and value.
It's opening up a whole new world of possibilities.
Whether you're a seasoned investor or just starting to learn about crypto, it's essential to stay informed.
Absolutely, this is a rapidly evolving space.
And there's a lot to learn
And that's why we created this show.
to help you make sense of it all.
We want to give you the information and the insights you need to navigate this exciting but sometimes confusing world.
So keep those questions coming. Let us know in the comments what you're curious about.
What your thoughts are on Bitcoin's future and what other topics you'd like us to cover.
We appreciate you joining us for this deep dive into Bitcoin's potential path to $200,000.
We'll be back next time with another deep dive into the world of emerging technologies and what they mean for you.
And that's a wrap.
Thanks for tuning in.